I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. We have next chapter, exempted incomes. Now, what do you mean by exempted? Exempted means the incomes which are free of tax. Free of tax. Those
Tax free.
incomes are known as, they see, though they are incomes, but no income tax will be charged. I know they are incomes, but no income tax will be charged. Such incomes are known as exempted incomes. And every detail, every information related to exempted incomes is given in section number 10. Section 10 provides you all the incomes which are exempted from tax. Okay. There are number of sections that we are going to cover today, and I definitely promise you that this chapter, we will complete this chapter today only, because it is not so long that we will take many more lectures for. I will do it today only. Okay. Exemption under section 10 subsection 1. Now, which is the income under section 10 subsection 1? Agricultural income. So if any person is a farmer and has his own land, if he earns agricultural income, such income would be exempted from tax. See, first you have to take into the consideration. For calculating the total income, agricultural is taken, agricultural income is taken, is considered, is counted. But after calculating gross total income, the total final income, you have to deduct again the amount of agricultural income that you have added before. Getting my point? For taking, I mean, agricultural income has to be taken for consideration of the total income, for calculation of the total income. Okay. But once the total income has been calculated of a particular person, from that gross total income, the total income, agricultural income will again be deducted. Because why it will be deducted? Because under section 10 subsection 1, it is completely exempted, completely. And it is stated under section 10 subsection 1 of Income Tax Act 1961. See, in MCQs it can be asked, Income Tax Act dash 1961, 1962, 1968, 1984. Yes, so you have to select the right option. It is 1961. Okay, so these are the following agricultural incomes that are exempted. Rent or revenue earned from a land located in India, which is used for agricultural purpose. Very simple. If you have your own land, now you have given it for rental basis, but on that land agricultural crops are grown. Only that type of land will be counted as agricultural land, which is given on the rent, and you receive a revenue from that particular land. But it should be located in India also. It should be located only in India. The Indian land, I'm talking about the land in India, not outside India. Outside India में कोई land है भी अगर आपकी, it will be taxable. If you earn money, it will be taxable. I'm talking about agriculture land in India. And see the last line, the last few words, which is used for the land which is given on the rental basis to somebody else, to another farmer maybe. It should be used for agricultural purpose only. For setting up complex, for setting up a building there, no, it will not be exempted then. For agriculture purpose, it has been given as exempted income. Second, income earned from agricultural land located in India by doing agricultural activities. Suppose you have your own land and you are doing agricultural activities on that land and you are earning money. These agricultural activities include processing of agricultural produce, that means you produce the crops. Okay. to make it fit for sale in the market. और वो crops जो आप produce करते हो, the crops that you produce, you want to sell it in the market, and they are fit enough to sell it in the market. Okay. Such income is also known as agricultural income, and therefore it is fully exempted. Fully exempted means 100% tax free. No tax will be applicable. Whatever the amount you earn, whatever. Income earned from farmhouse provided specific conditions are fulfilled. Yes, income earned from farmhouse. Farmhouse, suppose agricultural जहाँ पे होता है, the land, the agricultural land has a farmhouse also. So with the specific conditions, अगर आपको fulfill करते, if you fulfill the specific conditions, no need to understand about these specific conditions. It is just written that specific conditions, if fulfilled, then income earned from farmhouse also exempted under section 10 subsection 1. If you fulfill those conditions, I repeat again, there are so many conditions for it. One of them is it should be nearer to agricultural land. Farmer should use it. Okay. Moreover, income earned from saplings or seedlings which are grown in nursery would also be considered as agricultural. वो छोटे छोटे झाड़ नहीं लगाते, छोटे छोटे पेड़ और छोटे पौधे, समथिंग लाइक दैट, नर्सरी टाइप आपने देखा होगा, छोटे छोटे पौधे उगाते हैं और उसको मिट्टी में डाल के या वो टोकरी में डाल के उसको सजा कर बेचते हैं ना मार्केट में, वैसे टाइप ऑफ नर्सरी. ओके, so that is also counted as agricultural incomes. Okay, so these are few types of agricultural incomes that are exempted under section 10 subsection 1. Any amount you earn is exempted. You remember that case, Amitabh Bachchan? Many years ago, on Amitabh Bachchan, there was a raid. They put a raid on Amitabh Bachchan because he has a hidden money, black money known, which is known as black money, right? तो उन्होंने क्या किया, उनके ऊपर जब रेड लगाई ना अमिताभ बच्चन पे, तो अमिताभ बच्चन ने अपनी जो छुपाई हुई मनी थी, जो पैसे थे, जो फंड्स थे, द हिडन मनी, he tried to show it as an agricultural income. Do you know this case? He tried to show, but he failed. Why? Because he is actually not a farmer by his profession. He is an actor by profession. Therefore, he failed. Getting my point? If you have earned your money through agricultural land, through through a land which is used for agriculture purposes, then, but you are not farmer by profession, no? So how can you show that this is income from agriculture? No. Therefore, he failed, and he had to pay lot many taxes. All money were taken by tax officials. Okay, are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You can study about that case of Amitabh Bachchan. You will come to know more in detail. Okay, anyways, I was giving you just an idea about that. Okay, exemption under section 10 subsection 2. Next wala. Next, point number 2. So it has section number 2 which says income received from co-partners from HUF. Well, who are the co-partners? Who are the
Ma'am,
Family
co-partners?
member.
family
Yes,
members.
Family
other
member.
family members who are involved in business activities. Example, if my father is there, my grandfather is there, who is karta of the family business. Okay, karta means the head of the family business.
Yes.
My grandfather.
Senior most
Yes,
citizen.
senior most family member who handles most majority decisions of family business. Okay, known as karta. Karta, karta. Okay, karta of the family business. Okay. Now all other members, my father, my uncle, maybe my cousins, okay, who are involved in the activity of business, Hindu undivided family business, are known as co-partners. Now co-partners receive income from HUF, yes. Just like Karta gets an income, just like an employee gets an income from employer, same way we also receive from Hindu Undivided Family Business, no? My father gets an income, therefore we are surviving, no? Right? Are you understanding? Are you
Yes,
getting my
ma'am.
point? Yes. So the
Yes.
income, whatever my father has received being a co-partner from HUF, it will be completely exempted. Completely means 100%. 100% exempted. Okay? Are you getting my example? Why it is exempted? Because see, already I told you the definition of person. Have you done that the revision of person, the definition of person? If you have done it, you will remember it nicely that I told you only individuals cannot be called as person. Hindu Undivided Family, company, firms, association of person, body of individuals, local authority, artificial judicial person are all counted as person, artificial person. Now, because Hindu Undivided Family is taken as a person, artificial person, therefore government takes up this person and charges the tax on this particular person, Hindu Undivided Family Business. Government is charging directly the tax portion, the tax amount on the income portion of Hindu Undivided Family Business, not on each of the members of Hindu Undivided Family Business. Suppose, I'm giving you example. Suppose Hindu Undivided Family Business earned 1 crore rupees in a year. Business, I'm talking about business. Hindu Undivided Family Business earned 1 crore rupees during the previous year. Okay, now government will not ask each and every member of Hindu Undivided Family to pay the tax separately. Instead, what he will do, I'm talking about the government. Instead, what he will do, he will calculate the total income of HUF. Now, the total income of HUF is 1 crore. He will directly charge the tax on that rupees 1 crore. It is easy for the government, no? Charging tax on 1 crore is easy rather than charging on every single member, tax on every single member. It is very difficult. So after suppose 1 crore, on 1 crore the tax is charged at the rate 30%. So 30 lakhs rupees is gone in the name of tax to the government. Government has charged 30% tax. Okay. So 30 after 30%, after 30%, 30 lakhs is paid to them. 30 lakhs is paid to them, to the government. So what is leftover portion? 70 lakhs. 70 lakhs is leftover portion, no? I hope I'm
Yes.
calculating the right amount. Okay. So 70 lakhs will be then distributed to all the members of the family business. And now because already on 1 crore the tax was charged by the government. Now why the government will charge on each and every member? The tax on each and every member. It will be double taxation. No. The आपने तो 1 crore में से ही उसको बांटा ना. 1 crore is divided. From the amount of 1 crore, 30 lakhs is already paid. And now the remaining amount 70 lakhs is divided amongst the members. So why will you pay again those taxes on the individual basis? It will be the formula of double taxation then. It will be double taxation system. Okay. So it will be disadvantage if you pay the double taxation. It will be disadvantage on your part. Okay, therefore government has made the rule of 10 subsection 2 which says income received by any member which is known as co-partner from the HUF is completely exempted. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope you have understood section 2 or 10 subsection 2. Let me go on to the next. It is exemption under section 10 subsection 2A. It is previously it was 2, 10 subsection 2, Hindu undivided family business. But now we have section 2, section 10 subsection 2A on profit received by partners from the firm. Just like we have assumed, we have counted Hindu undivided family business in the definition of person, we have also counted similarly for the firm. We have also counted the firm as in the definition of person. Now because firm is counted as a person, artificial person, on the income of the firm the government charges tax. After a firm pays tax, it is distributed, the leftover income is distributed among the partners. Okay, now why will partners pay again the amount of tax from their single portion, from their individual portion of income? Why will they pay tax? Because already the amount that they have received, the income that they have earned from the firm is already, the income is already deducted from tax. I hope it is clear. That income, from
Yes,
that
ma'am.
income you have already paid the tax. So why will you pay again and again? समझ में आ रहा है? ये वो ही इनकम है जिसमें से आपने टैक्स भरी थी, और जो बची हुई इनकम थी वो ही तो भाटी गई है. आई होप यू
एक
अंडरस्टैंड.
बार निकाल चुके तो बार बार
Yes,
क्यों
ma'am.
टैक्स चार्ज
हाँ, एक
करेंगे?
बार तो आप निकाल चुके हो ना. सपोज अ फर्म अर्न्स 50 lakhs rupees. So on that same amount of 50 lakhs you have paid the tax. Now leftover part is given to the partners in the name of their income, profits, gains, etc. So why will partners pay tax? No, because from that same amount of income they have paid it already in the name of firm. 50 lakhs rupees tax on 50 lakhs rupees already government ले चुकी है, तो फिर से क्यों भरेंगे? Are you getting my example?
यस मैम.
Okay, next.
Yes, ma'am.
Next. इतना सब कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है इसमें. इतना सब कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है इसमें. Okay, because it is given so that, so I have put it here. But you don't have to do so much. You just have to understand. Okay. Exemption under section 10 subsection 10D. Benefits received from LIP, that is life insurance policies. I hope you know life insurance policies अगर आप LIC से खरीदते हैं वो पूरा exempted होते हैं. I hope you know. पता है ना आपको लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज अगर आप LIC से खरीदते हैं लाइफ
Yes,
इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी से तो
टैक्स
आपका,
फ्री होता है.
हाँ जी, ठीक है. बाकी सारी पॉलिसीज भी, बाकी सारी कंपनीज की पॉलिसीज भी, they also give you some exemptions under section 10 subsection D. Okay, so the benefits you receive from LIC, or sorry, LIP, that is life insurance policies, are exempted. Why is this page blank? I don't know. Okay. Next is exemption under section 10 subsection 15 on interest income. On interest income. Now, let me tell you, there are 16 different types of income. How many? How many incomes? Different type of
16.
16. Yes. You don't have to learn. You don't have to memorize those incomes. You should just be knowing about 10 subsection 15. That's it. Under 10 subsection 15, there are 16 types of incomes that you earn in the name of interest. Maybe interest on gold bonds, maybe interest from government bonds, maybe interest from gold deposits. There are many, many incomes, 16 types of different incomes. When you invest in those investments, when you put money in those investments, such type of 16 incomes that I'm talking about, okay, when you invest your money in such type of investments, you receive interest amount, you receive interest income. Okay, after receiving the interest, if it comes under 10 subsection 15, it is completely exempted. This is what is written here. I'm giving you 2 minutes to read down. Read it. So next we have exemptions under section 10 subsection 16 on scholarship received for education. Now suppose you are getting an education on the basis of scholarship amount. See, you must have seen many students get the amount under scholarship scheme, under the scholarship schemes, right? You must have seen it. So with the help of that, you study, you take up the education part, okay? You complete your education with the scholarship money. Only and only if you have received the scholarship from central government or state government, it will be exempted. What did I say just now? Was only and only if you receive the scholarship from state or central governments, the amount will be completely 100% exempted. And the conditions should be scholarship amount should be utilized only and only for meeting the actual cost of education. Otherwise, if utilized otherwise, exemption will not be given under section 10 subsection 16. I hope you understand.
Yes, ma'am.
समझ में आया? सबको समझ में आया? सिर्फ एजुकेशन के पर्पस के लिए स्कॉलरशिप के अमाउंट को यूज करना चाहिए, तो भी एग्जम्पशन मिलेगा. और अगर आपको सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के जरिए या एजुकेशनल ट्रस्ट के जरिए या एजुकेशनल बोर्ड के जरिए या यूनिवर्सिटीज के जरिए आपको अगर स्कॉलरशिप मिल रहा है, किसको? स्टूडेंट्स को. ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. कौन दे रहा है? गवर्नमेंट, मे बी सेंट्रल और स्टेट, यूनिवर्सिटीज, एजुकेशनल बोर्ड, जैसे महाराष्ट्र बोर्ड होता है ना अपना, वैसे एजुकेशनल ट्रस्ट, कोई एजुकेशनल ट्रस्ट बना हुआ है जो चैरिटी करते हैं, बच्चों के लिए पढ़ाई डोनेट करते हैं, पढ़ाई के लिए अमाउंट डोनेट करते हैं. सो गवर्नमेंट, universities, educational boards, educational trusts, if they give the scholarship amount in the hands of students, only then it will be exempted, and the exemption will be allowed for the full amount of scholarship which is used for the actual cost of the education. अगर आपने पूरा का पूरा अमाउंट एजुकेशन के लिए यूज किया है तो ही एग्जम्पशन मिलेगा. ठीक है? The cost of education would not only cover the tuition fee, but it also covers incidental expenses which are incurred in availing education. बहुत बार देखो, हम लोग ट्यूशन फीस सिर्फ जो कॉलेज में भरते हैं ना, जो कॉलेज की फीस होती है, जो स्कूल की फीस होती है, सिर्फ उसका डिडक्शन नहीं मिलता है. स्कॉलरशिप का अमाउंट अगर आपने इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस भी किए ना, जैसे बुक्स खरीदना एंड ऑल, ऐसे भी खर्चे किए ना, देन ऑल्सो यू रिसीव एग्जम्पशन. Then also you are eligible to take up the exemption if that amount is utilized not only for the tuition fee or the college fee or the school fee, but other expenses which are incidental to your education, related to your education, buying books, buying stationery. Okay, you have to visit for writing down the examination from one place to another. The traveling expenses can also be claimed because it is associated with your education, no? Therefore, the amount will be exempted. Next, exemption under section 10 subsection 17. Allowances paid to MPs. Who is MP? MLA. Who is MLA? And MLC. I have written
मैम
already.
एमएलए वो
Member of Legislature Assembly.
हाँ
Member of
असेंबली
Legislative
का
Committee. MLC. And MP is Member of Parliament. ठीक है? See, I've written the full forms. Any amount paid to, who pays to them? Of course, government pays to them. Government pays to whom? To MPs, to MLAs, and to MLC. Any allowances paid to them are exempted under section 10 subsection 17. Okay, so they form a part of local authority, no? If you remember the definition of person, they form a part of local authority. Parliament is local authority. Legislative Assembly is local authority. Legislative Committee is also local authority. They are the members of each of those respective, local authorities. Are you getting my point? So anything which is given to such persons, members, because income of parliament is already taxable, no? Why will members pay again the tax? So that same logic that we have applied on Hindu undivided family business and partnership firm. Why will members pay the tax? The parliament as a local authority will pay the tax, no? The legislative assembly, being a local authority as an artificial person, will pay the tax, no? Are you getting my point? Say at least yes or no.
Yes, ma'am. समझ
Yes.
रहे हैं.
So why will members pay tax again? Because already the income of parliament is taxable. And the leftover income is given to the members, segregated among the members. So why will members pay the tax? No, no need to pay. Therefore, it is exempted in the hands of such members. If members receive it in their hands, it will be exempted. The allowances which are allowed, which are exempted are daily allowances received by MPs, MLAs and MLCs. Any other allowances received by MP under the provision of members of parliament, rules 1986, any other allowances, maybe not daily allowances, any other type of constituency allowances received by member of state or a member of state legislatures. These type of allowances are exempted. I hope you can see the screen. I will not put it in the presentation form because then options are not available for me. These options, looking at the chat box and all, these options disappears. Therefore, I will not put it in the presentation form. Is it visible clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So exemption under section 10 subsection 17A. Previously it was 17. I mean the last slide says about 17. Allowances paid to MPs, MLAs and MLC. Now it is 10 subsection 17A on awards and rewards instituted by Government of India. I hope you know the difference between awards and rewards. What is the difference
ये देख
between awards and
वो
rewards?
SBI देख ना कितना
शुभम
20 रुपया लॉस.
शुभम तू टैक्स पढ़ रहा है कि एसबीआई का 20 रुपए लॉस देख रहा है स्टॉक मार्केट में.
मैम वो पॉपअप होके सामने आ गया ना तो गलती से दिख गया.
बेटा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो, नहीं तो मैं रिपीट नहीं करूंगी फिर. पूरा लेक्चर में ध्यान दो, ये भी तो इम्पोर्टेंट है. पॉपअप आया है तो उसको ध्यान मत दो. लेक्चर में ध्यान रखो, पॉपअप तो आता रहेगा तब ध्यान दे
Sorry,
देना,
ma'am.
लेक्चर पूरा हो जाएगा तो. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. चलो आगे देखो. मुझे कोई बताएगा अवार्ड्स एंड रिवॉर्ड्स में क्या डिफरेंशिएशन है? What is the difference between awards and rewards? Is there any difference between the two? Yes. So can anybody tell me? See, I'll tell you. I mean, you should be knowing, no? Award means, what to say? If you receive some gold medal or if you receive some medal or a trophy, that is known as award. But when it comes to reward,
Award मतलब monetary.
cash money, yes, monetary terms. If you receive 5,000 rupees cash, 2 lakhs rupees cash, it will be reward. Okay, so only and only any amount of reward and awards received from central government, state government, or any other body which is approved from central or state government is exempted. If it is received from college, no, sorry. If it is received from central or state government or any other body approved from central or state government, it will be exempted. Every award and rewards are not exempted, huh? Only those awards and rewards are exempted which are received by central or state government or any other body which is approved by central or state government. Okay.